Imagine your company is about to close an important deal. The contract looks professional, the language sounds reasonable, but inside there are provisions that could quietly destroy value. No possibility to terminate contract within 2 years, retainers paid before the advisor's work is completed, no transfer of intellectual property to our company. So I decided to test something. I gave this highly unfavorable contract to 3 AI models and asked them one simple question. What are the red flags and how does the contract fulfill our standard terms? Can they spot the clauses that could expose a company to serious risks? Or will they miss what experienced lawyers and finance leaders would immediately challenge? Because in real life, such contracts would result in penalties, disputes, and hidden liabilities. Let's see whether AI can detect the risk before it's too late. I'm Alexandra, an ACCA qualified transformation leader. I've led more than €1 billion in enterprise programs across capital intensive organizations. On this channel, we test AI the way CFOs test investments against numbers, risk, and measurable ROI. Let's open the contract. I've prepared a contract for Green Company for advisory services. This contract is heavily skewed to better represent the benefits of this advisory company, so it is highly unfavorable from the Green Company's point of view. And I'm asking ChatGPT to be a seasoned legal counsel and to compare and contrast this contract to our standard terms. We know that each company has such standard terms like contract termination within 30 days notice, 14 days payment period of invoicing, and so on and so forth. So I'm asking ChatGPT to spot the areas that diverge from our standard terms. That's the first thing. And the second thing is to flag any additional red flags that may appear. So ChatGPT is thinking for a second and it produces a summary. So the direct deviations, so we see that these are the invoicing structure. So we asked for monthly invoicing and we have a retainer paid in advance. So this causes some uncertainty whether we would be happy with the quality of the work delivered by the advisor. And we see that ChatGPT also suggests the risks that it may generate and the commercial impact, which is nice and reasonable. We also see that it has spotted the payment period problems. So we asked for 14 days while we have 7 days, and we even have an interest and service suspension risk. We have some serious issues with termination rights because we have 24-month locked initial term. This is a grave risk for us, honestly. And there are also some things diverging from our liability cap. So yeah, also some indirect damages exclusions. So we see that the list is pretty lengthy. Also in part B, the other red flags like the intellectual property being only on the advisor or the fact that advisor can work for competitors. So we see that the list is lengthy. That's fine for us. But honestly, the structure of this is not really helpful in terms of taking it to negotiations. I like the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. That's nice, but a bit too brief for me. Honestly, that's not very useful. So I asked it to prepare a Word document, but the format of it, it's also not well structured. It's not ready to use for negotiations. So now I'm switching to Gemini, choosing the thinking model and giving him the exact same prompt. Let's see what we have. Okay, this agreement is currently drafted, is heavily skewed in favor of the advisor. That is true. It introduces several poison pills. So we see it spotted the invoicing problems, that's for sure. The payment period also diverging, instead of 14 days, 7 days. We have the notice period. the liability cap. So exactly what ChatGPT did as well. In part B, we see some other red flags. Actually, I don't see any reference to the clauses, the exact clauses, so it would be difficult for me to correct or raise some concerns in negotiations. It may be rather a brief instead of really, a counsel's advice. So for me, it's a bit too scratching the surface. So now I'm switching to Claude, giving the exact same prompt. It's working. That's fine. Let's give it a couple of minutes. And yeah, oh, we have a Word document already without asking actually. So let's see what we have. I see we have some prioritization here. High, medium, and low severity. This is good. Let's open the Word document. Wow, the structure is very nice. It looks like a counsel's advice. We have his executive summary, a nice table with reference to exact clauses, contract as drafted, and also the impact of it. And also in part B, we have coloring according to severity and also reference to clauses, which I like very much. And even we have negotiation tactics and the recommendations. So the recommendation to not sign the contract, which is very nice. And even priority negotiation lines, which I find really helpful. So all in all, this is very comprehensive. This is very well structured. So for me, it goes well. But before I draw final conclusions, I asked ChatGPT to compare both opinions, the opinion by Claude as the first and the opinion by ChatGPT as the second, to have a more objective opinion. Let's see what we have. I also asked ChatGPT to highlight if the second opinion missed some points. So we see that ChatGPT said that Claude is far better in terms of structuring, rigorousness than ChatGPT. It compared and contrasted these two. And below are substantive omissions that ChatGPT did, like non-refundable fees, accelerated payment termination, critical omissions, and so on. So we see that Claude not only did better in terms of structuring, but also identified more red flags, which is actually very important from the finance professional's point of view. So which model did best in spotting the risks hidden in the contract? In my test, Claude was clearly the most rigorous and structured one. It identified the key structural problems: the unlimited liability, the imbalance in termination rights, and the penalty clauses that would cost the company a lot. ChatGPT also spotted some of the issues, but interestingly, when I asked ChatGPT to compare the analysis produced by the different models, it pointed to Claude's assessment as the most thorough and rigorous. Gemini, on the other hand, struggled to go beyond a surface-level summary. So what does this tell us? First, AI can be already a powerful second line of defense when reviewing complex documents. But second, and more importantly, not all models reason at the same depth. For tasks that require carefully reading, structured analysis, and identification of hidden risks, the differences between tools can be significant. And that matters, because contracts are not just legal documents, they are financial instruments. Every clause can create revenue stability or unexpected liability, which means the real value of AI in this context is not replacing lawyers or finance teams. It's giving decision makers an additional analytical lens before signing something that could affect the business for years to come. If you found this experiment useful, subscribe to the channel. In the next episodes, we continue testing AI against real finance challenges to see where AI actually improves decision making and where financial judgment still matters most.